500 meters below the entire ice sheet of Antarctica, where sunlight never reaches, there is life. In that eternally dark world, some isolated small creatures have survived for thousands of years. Here, the entire sheet of ice extends to a depth of about 5 kilometers. From above, it seems like a white, empty desert, lifeless and silent. But under that white surface, all sorts of miraculous things are hidden. Mysterious rivers flowing in the opposite direction. Rivers wider than cities, active volcanoes, and hidden bubbles of air that are millions of years old are locked in the world's largest freshwater reservoir. And now, powerful countries are trying to take control of this reservoir. China is building new permanent bases, and Russia is conducting geological surveys. But what is there under the ice that everyone is so desperate for? What are they really looking for? To find the answer to that question, today we have to descend into the mysterious depths of Antarctica's ice. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent in the world by area. Even if the entire United States and Mexico are combined, it will not be equal to it. About 70% of the world's fresh water is held in the ice sheet of this continent, which is so thick that it could cover the European Alps. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest region in the world. In winter, the sun does not rise for months. Temperatures can drop to minus 90 degrees Celsius, and strong storms carry everything away in the wind. Yet, even in such a hostile environment, life has not stopped there. Penguins and seals live in groups on the ice-covered coast. All kinds of fish roam under the sea, even in the deep, dark water of the ice. Microorganisms and small creatures like shrimps survive in some way. Yes, nature has spread life everywhere in its own way. The ice of Antarctica is actually a huge library of time. Every year, snow falls here continuously and is deposited layer by layer under its own weight. Just like the annual rings of a tree trunk, each layer of ice is the silent history of a year. And tiny air bubbles are trapped in that layer, which retain a sample of the air of that year. Thus, from the ancient atmosphere to the prehistoric details of the Earth's climate are hidden under the frozen ice of Antarctica. Scientists have drilled several kilometers deep and brought up long ice blocks, at the bottom of which the air of about 1.2 million years ago is also trapped. From this information, it is known when the Sahara Desert was a green forest. When did mammals roam the Earth? And through this, it is possible to know that the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was half of today's level. Ice forgets nothing. What I have said so far is only the upper part of this continent. If we go deeper, Antarctica will open up more global secrets to us. There are some worlds hidden in the depths of Antarctica that are beyond human imagination. Under the ice is a whole world of water. Thousands of hidden rivers and lakes are spread like a web in the depths of Antarctica. Some are bigger than cities. They have survived without sunlight for millions of years. When the water of all the rivers suddenly changes its course and flows faster in another place, the ice above fluctuates by several meters, as if something moved inside the belly of the ice. Sometimes this hidden world breaks through the ice and reveals itself. For example, the mysterious dark red waterfall that flows from the side of the Teller Glacier is called Blood Falls. At first, it seemed as if blood was flowing from the body of ice. Later, scientists realized that it was actually ancient salt water trapped hundreds of meters below the ice, in which a lot of iron was mixed. On the way up the ice, the iron oxidized in the air, and the water took on a red color. And this red waterfall proves that the nutrient-rich waters under the ice reach the sea and circulate throughout the environment. For example, the iron and nutrients in that water nourish the tiny algae in the sea. Countless krill, i.e. shrimp, survive by eating that algae. And the world's largest animal, the blue whale, depends on krill. Once, due to constant human hunting, the blue whale was almost destroyed in the waters of Antarctica. Today, they are slowly resurfacing. But how they can survive in the changing ocean is still a mystery. Now let's dive deeper. Far below the ice lies a vast abyss called the abyss, which has been frozen in ice for millions of years without sunlight. Scientists believe that its waters could harbor life unseen anywhere else on the planet. In addition to the abyss, there are more than 700 subsurface lakes beneath Antarctica, and scientists have already drilled into a few of them and found signs of bacteria and microbes. Even tiny shrimp-like creatures that swim in the dark water far from sunlight have been found in the locked samples taken from the abyss. All this shows how deep and hostile environments life can hide. So scientists think that such life may exist under the icy moons of Jupiter or Saturn. Now we have reached the actual land of Antarctica. Let's remove the ice layer and explore the real underground of Antarctica. Because of its ice cover, so it was not known that beneath it were vast mountains and valleys of world-class scenery. The gambers of the Alps mountains in Europe are as high as the mountains. Denman Canyon is the deepest canyon in the world, about 3.5 kilometers deep, but it was completely hidden under the ice. Moreover, under the ice, one after another, dormant volcanoes have been discovered in the western part, which explode not exactly, but constantly melt the ice from below. The fossils found in the rock layers tell us that this icy country was once a green land many millions of years ago, when Antarctica was part of the continent of Gondwana. Then there were dense forests, rivers, and settlements of animals. Over time, this continent moved to the South Pole and was covered in frozen ice. But the traces of that lost world remain in the fossils and soil of the rocks. This is the invisible treasure of Antarctica, for which the powerful countries of the world are now trying to strategically position themselves. Because geologists believe that Antarctica may have reserves of coal, oil, gas, and rare minerals as abundant as those of South America, Africa, and Australia, which could be worth trillions of dollars. But now these resources are sleeping in eternal ice. Because in the 1959 agreement, Antarctica was made an area dedicated only to peace and scientific research. Mining or military activities are still prohibited here. However, in 2048, the first opportunity to review this agreement will come. The ban is lifted, then a new competition for resources will begin on the ice. But even then, Russia is already searching for oil gas by conducting geological surveys. China is increasing its presence by building new stations. And the activities of countries like the United States have decreased a lot by occupying other countries. And with this opportunity, the balance of influence in Antarctica is gradually shifting towards China and Russia. But the environment of Antarctica is very sensitive. Because the ice, sea, and wildlife are so intertwined here that if one is hit, the rest will be affected. The balance that has been built over millions of years can be destroyed in a few decades due to greed. Although this continent has remained peaceful for 7 years due to the agreement, but 2048 is not far away. And then the future of Antarctica will be decided.